and Ajax Mason's presentation. In this episode, we're going to be finding out what Geometry Dash level is easier, Clubstep or Theory of Everything 2. And this is my personal favorite episode of the first season.
Addie, are you going to play Geometry Dash?
No. Not after Smash's news report in episode 8. She said Clubstep was easier than Theory of Everything 2.
Come on. She wasn't bashing anyone's opinions.
I don't care. Theory of Everything 2 is still easier than Clubstep is. In other news, there is a controversy over which Geometry Dash level is easier, Clubstep or Theory of Everything 2. I personally think Clubstep is easier.
Geez. You don't have to be so bashful about this controversy.
What are you talking about?
Do you think electrodynamics is harder than Clubstep?
Yes. That level sucks.
But why do you think Theory of Everything 2 is easier than Clubstep if you know it is that tight corridor at 77%?
Sorry about the poor audio quality.
Did you just kill Sid?
Yes, I did. He was saying Clubstep is easier than Theory of Everything 2.
Addison Endermite, how dare you bash Sid's opinion and kill him? That's it, we're having a discussion about this. Sid has responded right now.
Why did you call us?
Thanks to a certain someone for bashing Sid's opinion on which demon is easier. I called this meeting. Everyone here thinks electrodynamics is harder than Clubstep.
Yeah. That is the worst Geometry Dash level.
We are here to discuss whether Clubstep or Theory of Everything 2 is easier.
I think Clubstep is easier. I got to 98% on it. No. Theory of Everything 2 is easier. In Clubstep, you have that dumb UFO part at 50%. I got to 80% on Theory of Everything 2. Agreed. There is almost no X'd out incorrect jump rings in Clubstep. Theory of Everything 2 has X'd out incorrect jump rings, except for the third coin.
You both are wrong. Clubstep is easier. It is rated 13 stars, although it says 14.
Nope. Theory of Everything 2 is common sense based, which makes it easier. No, it is not. Clubstep's hardest part at 85% is easy to navigate through, while that stupid tight corridor at 80% in TOE2 is really hard. Who cares about that part? You are missing the easy part from 70% to 76%. Clubstep is easier. Agreed.
Nope, Theory of Everything 2 is easier. It is similar to the X step and Theory of Everything 1 controversy.
No, the ship's momentum in the game is awful. I can't get past 77 on Theory of Everything 2. I beat Clubstep. Clubstep. Are you playing on 60 Hz or something? TOE2 is easier in 144 Hz. Yeah, it is.
Nah. Clubstep is easier. I struggle with Theory 2.
Clubstep's ball part is really confusing. It has 2 fakes that you are supposed to go through. Theory of Everything 2 lacks fakes.
Revenge is right. Theory of Everything 2 is harder. No! Stop it! Please? You are wrong. The only hard part is 77% to 82%. Lies. 36% to 43%, 57% to 61%, 66% to 69%, and 87% to 91% are also hard parts in Theory of Everything 2. Clubstep is only 3 hard parts, 52% to 56%, 78% to 82%, and 85% to 90%.
I agree with Zach. Rod is wrong saying that Theory 2 is easier.
Same here. Clubstep's cube parts are so easy.
Oh no! Theory of Everything 2 is easier. I wasted 8,165 attempts trying to beat Clubstep and 2,387 attempts trying to beat Theory of Everything 2.
Really? Clubstep is easier than Theory of Everything 2. So you're saying that you can beat Forsaken Neon in 1,000 attempts, but it took you 8.165 times more to beat Clubstep, and 2.387 times more to beat Theory of Everything 2, which are both easy demons.
Fire is right. Clubstep is easier than Theory of Everything 2.
Yeah! Jack is also right. Clubstep is easier than.
Cavell, don't go saying stuff like that when you can't get past 5% in both levels. You are trash at the game. In fact, you are the worst monster at the game.
You all are liars. Clubstep is harder than Theory of Everything 2. It is memorization and timing based.
Theory of Everything 2 has less timings and memorization than Clubstep does. So TOE 2 is easier.
Who cares about the timings and memorization? Clubstep is easier than Theory of Everything 2 ever is.
That is true.
Clubstep and Theory of Everything 2 are equally hard. I don't care for this whole debate. Oh, I am Addy Endermite. I like to bash monsters' opinions on Clubstep and Theory of Everything 2. Well, Clubstep is the 4th hardest level in the game. I died at 95%. I died at 78% on Theory of Everything 2.
Theory of Everything 2 is easier. 51% through 76% is my favorite part.
Yes! Clubstep's music sucks. It sounds like a bunch of farts. Theory of Everything 2 has sick music.
Who cares about music? We are talking about gameplay. Clubstep is easier.
Yeah. Music doesn't matter. I hate Clubstep's music, but I think it is easier than Theory of Everything 2.
Theory of Everything 2 is definitely easier. The more portals give it more diversity. Yeah!
Theory of Everything 2 also has less bugs than Clubstep, making gameplay a lot easier.
Clubstep is harder. I can't stand 66% to 100%. Theory of Everything 2's most annoying part is the tight corridor.
Clubstep is easier than Theory of Everything 2. I died at 80% numerous times. I have passed Clubstep's hardest part more times than Theory of Everything 2's hardest part.
Heck no. Theory 2 is easier. It is more fun to play.
I agree. Clubstep makes me really mad when I play it.
Like I said in episode 8 on the news, Clubstep is easier. The ship's poor momentum and trajectory makes it harder to control in Theory of Everything 2. Yes. All that is true. Even in 144 Hz.
You all are a bunch of liars. Even in 60 Hz, Theory of Everything 2 is easier.
No, it is not. I play in 60 Hz, and I always die at 80%. Clubstep's ship parts aren't limited to one spot for success, so it makes Clubstep easier.
Disagreeing.
Agreeing.
No. Clubstep is easy than Theory of Everything 2. ILVD in Theory of Everything 2 a 41%.
Idiot 21% on Theory of Everything 2. I only made it to 42 on Clubstep. I am trash at the game. But I think Clubstep is easier.
Clubstep is easier than Theory of Everything 2. Even Ajax Mations says that too. What is next after this? Deadlocked versus Theory of Everything 3?
I don't know. But Clubstep is easier than Theory of Everything 2. I died at 87% on Clubstep, and I died at 81% on Theory of Everything 2.
You are both wrong. Theory of Everything 2 is easier. I suck at Clubstep. Stop with this nonsense.
No you. Clubstep is indeed easier. I suck at Theory of Everything 2.
All of you. Stop with this nonsense. You are giving me and Alex Bryan a headache.
What Herobrine said. Stop bickering and let's just go in depth on why this controversy exists. Me and Herobrine will explain all the parts and give a rating out of 10 in difficulty.
The lower score means it is easier. I will explain Clubstep.
I will explain Theory of Everything too. Give your attention to Herobrine.
Remember that the difficulty is on a scale of 1 to 10. First we have the intro, which receives a 3 out of 10 because of some timings. That first coin is really easy. The second half of the cube receives a 4 because of the invisible blocks and gravity portals. The auto part receives a 1. The first ship receives a 7 because it is hard to master, but easy to learn. Another auto part, 1 out of 10. The next part receives a 2 out of 10 because it is not auto, but it does have only spamming. The first mini-cube in Clubstep receives a 3 because of a few timings. This ball receives a 6 for having fakes you have to enter. The first one is the blue orb in the demon's upper jaw, and then the other is in a hidden spot you enter. And the UFO receives an 8. It is literally an extreme version of Flappy Bird. The ship that follows it receives a 2. The next cube receives a 4 for having a timing at 60%. The next part receives a 2 for having a common sense part by using excess to show which orbs are fake, and then a spamming part. Now we get to 66%. This part gets a 7. It is really easy to screw up here. The final UFO gets a 3 for having invisible spikes, but still being relatively easy. However, the second coin is a pain to get. The ship at 73% receives a 9 for having fakes and a harder to control ship. The second half of the ship gets a 10. It is cycles, but if the ship part at 60% was extreme. The next cube gets a 4 due to 2 timings. But the mini cube gets a 3. And now the hardest part from 85% to 90% is a full-blown 10. The ship is really hard to control and you're upside down. The final cube gets a 3. It has only one timing at the very end. The final ship gets a 5 due to pressure. The third coin is the hardest coin in the level. It is a tiny bit easier than the normal route, but it still doesn't make a difference. And that is Clubstep. Clubstep gets an average score of 4.62. Alex Bryan, your turn.
This is Theory of Everything too. The intro gets a 4 due to being buggier than Clubstep's intro. And then a short auto part. 1. The first ship gets an 8 for having invisible blocks and spikes. The first coin doesn't help. The first UFO gets a 3. Timing is crucial, but it is still really easy unless the speed glitch happens to you. The ball gets a 4 due to timings, but at least the 2 incorrect blue orbs are X'd out. The UFO gets a 5 because of how hard spamming is here. The cube gets a 3 due to a tiny memorization part. The ship from 36 to 43 gets a 10 because of how hard it is to navigate. There is a trap on the top when you first enter, there are more invisible blocks and spikes, and hard to control parts. The next part gets a 4 due to a memorization part and a triple spike. The fun part starts off with a 4 because of some tight wave spots. The ball maze gets a 7. There is a way to get past it. The correct way will be your primary player color, the fakes are your secondary color. Unless your player colors are the same color, or if your player color is black on either one, you just have to guess and hope you make it. The other wave gets a 5. The main route is easier than the second coin way. The mini ship gets a 6. The saw blades are invisible. Another auto part. 1 out of 10. The cube gets a 2 for only having a few timings. This is the easiest part in the level, not including auto parts. Do I even need to go into detail about the next part? It is a full-blown 10. The next part gets a 4. It is a lot more fast-paced. The third coin makes it easier to navigate through. The entire UFO gets a 9. Timing and spamming are not a good mix. The final wave gets a 5. It is a mini wave that is in a wave path. The final part gets a 3. No pressure like in Clubstep. And that is Theory of Everything too. The average score is 4.9. Alright, Ajax. Time for the verdict.
Based on these results, it has come to the verdict that Clubstep is the easier level.
So now you know, Clubstep is easier than Theory of Everything too.